when you approach an aged wine, what are you looking for in terms of determining, okay, first of all, is this aged or not? And then second of all, that quality level.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I think, a lot of it comes down to, as with anything, I think when you're looking at wines, and especially when you don't know what's in the glass, then there is this element of assessing it, I suppose, and looking at the colour. Often colour changes in wines are some of the first things to think about when we're thinking about aged wines.
Ciao, y'all. I'm Jessica Dupuy, guest host for a special TexSom series covering the 2024 TexSom Wine Conference from Dallas, Texas. Join me in the heart of the Lone Star State as we delve into the experiences and insights of key speakers and attendees, exploring career paths, challenges, and the latest trends in the wine industry. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate our show wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, everybody, I'm here with Laura Rhys of Gusbourne, an English sparkling producer in the UK. Laura, welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks.
I'm excited to have you. And ironically, we're actually not in the UK or Italy. We're actually talking together in Austin, Texas. So, and the reason we're together, we're on the eve of TexSom, the wine conference.
Yes.
And I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about first you, and then we're going to jump into TexSom. So tell us about your background and what you do with Gusbourne.
So my role at Gusbourne is head of wine communications. And so I do a lot of the global ambassador work with our export markets around the world, and also with our teams in the UK. And then I'm also involved in winemaking in terms of blending, tastings, and other bits and pieces as well. So
it's pretty great. We were talking about that earlier, that, maybe when you started, you may not have thought that you would be doing the blending, but that now it's a really great part of you being able to be that communications ambassador, because from a very early point what that wine started as and then how it finished out. So
no, it's great. I mean, it means that I can communicate about these wines in a different way because of that. But also it's quite fun from a blending perspective, because, I work very closely with the head winemaker, Mary, and the head of winery operations, AJ, who obviously are coming to it from a very winemaker perspective. And then I'm coming to it from a completely different perspective, having spent a long time as a sommelier. So it's quite nice when we're blending to have both those sides coming together, which is nice.
Yeah, because you're thinking consumer, you're thinking how are we expressing this to the guest and things like that. But and what is the actual consumer palate going to experience? I think that's a good balance. And you did mention, so your first part of your career was more on the floor, if you will, or you're a Master Sommelier.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about that experience. That was mainly in the UK. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked for 11 years or so as a sommelier. I had a great time, loved it. And and passed the MS diploma in 2010.
Okay.
And, it was great to be part of that sommelier community in the UK and worldwide. You know, it's wonderful to bump into people and meet people around the world and have this connection, which is great. But also really nice to now kind of do a bit of a deep dive into the UK and what's going on in the industry, and still be able to talk about that internationally. So it's nice to have both sides of that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm curious. Let's kind of shift to TexSom real quick. I met you for the first time at TexSom many years ago, and I'm just kind of curious if you could kind of talk about how you first heard about the conference and what made you come that first time, and what your first impressions were.
So I heard about it. I had met James Tidwell, of course, in London at, I think he had come over to help to examine one of the Master Sommelier diplomas. So that's how I met James. And then we got chatting about TexSom, and he invited me over to speak. And that was how I first came to discover it. Really.
Amazing. So you come over from, I know it was, I can't even remember, we won't talk about how many years, but I know it was a while ago. And I'm curious kind of, you're coming over in August from not cold UK, but definitely cooler.
Yes.
What were your impressions of Dallas in August? Dallas, Texas.
that first time, I remember, and I still do it actually. I'll still step outside just to warm up a bit, and I'll still get that kind of whoosh of excitement, when you open the door and it feels a bit like you've opened an oven door.
Yes.
We don't really get that in the UK.
That's true. Well, so what you're basically describing is the fact that we also have an obsession with our air conditioning in Texas. And so we keep things really cold when it's hot outside.
Yes.
Which almost too cold, as you say, like you need it to warm up. And it doesn't take very long once you step outside to do that.
That's very true. Very true. But no, it was a great first impression.
Yeah. So what did you experience? Was it, were you kind of surprised by the people who attend, the people who speak? Was it a good, balance for you in terms of understanding the importance of this conference for the country? Or
I think so. I think I was really impressed by the breadth and the subject matter of some of the panels and the seminars, some of the wines that were being tasted and the opportunities to taste. To taste these wines that aren't necessarily everyday wines that we would get to open, even in a restaurant setting. And I think the educational side of that was brilliant and a real, not surprise perhaps, but it was just really exciting to see that. And also I think to understand perhaps a bit more about the networking opportunities and meeting people. Some people I knew anyway who were coming over from overseas, but to get to meet a lot of people from the US was great. Sommeliers as well as wine writers and journalists and other people in the wine industry too. So.
Who wants to be the next Italian wine ambassador? Join an exclusive network of 400 Italian wine ambassadors across 48 countries. Vinitaly International Academy is coming to Chicago on October 19th to 21st, and to Almaty, Kazakhstan from November 16th to 18th. Don't miss out. Register now at vinitaly.com.
So tell me about, we're kind of on the eve of this. You're going to be speaking this year with a couple of other presenters. Is that right?
Yeah, there's 4 of us on the panel.
Okay. And your seminar will be about tasting aged wines.
Yes.
And so this is more of an educational deep dive for those attending the seminar. They will have the wines in front of them. Tell me how you, and maybe some of the other speakers, tell me who they are and kind of how you've approached what you're going to do for this seminar.
Sure. So there's 4 of us, and it should be a really, really fun deep dive. We've got 12 wines.
Oh, okay.
But I think we'll be serving them blind, so I can't tell you what they are.
No, don't tell me. Yeah. Although this will be broadcasting after, but that's okay.
And going back a fair way, actually.
Yeah.
Some 10 years, 20 years, 30 years old, which is great. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see how these wines are developing and to understand, as you say, a bit more about how you taste older wines, what you're looking for. And there's a whole selection from around the world. So we'll be able to kind of deep dive into different regions and different grape varieties, how they age, how the structure changes, how the flavor profile changes. And also, I suppose, probably some discussions in terms of, well, how much longer do these wines
do they have more to give?
Yeah.
So who are some of the other presenters with you?
So we have Bram Callahan, Nick Davis, and Chris Gaither.
Okay, so other Master Sommeliers. Yeah. Chris Gaither in San Francisco. Is Nick on the West Coast as well?
I
think so.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a really great spread of people, good dynamics, great personalities.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you might help give the audience some ideas of some tips. And when you approach an aged wine, what are you looking for in terms of determining, okay, first of all, is this aged or not? And then second of all, that quality level.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I think, a lot of it comes down to, as with anything, I think when you're looking at wines, and especially when you don't know what's in the glass, then there is this element of assessing it, I suppose, and looking at the colour. Often colour changes in wines are some of the first things to think about when we're thinking about aged wines, and also flavour development. They become a lot more tertiary. There's much more complexity often, and structurally these wines will change too, whether that's from an acidity perspective or from a tannin perspective. When we're thinking about red wines, those tannins will start to soften and change structurally as well. So there's a lot to look at, and I think it's going to be really fun. We've got some high tannin, they would have been high tannin in their youth, red wines. We've got some sparkling wines. We've got some whites as well. So seeing how all of these different grape varieties in different areas of the world are aging, I think it's going to be fascinating.
It's kind of going to be a real detective experience for everyone, I would assume. And in terms of quality, how do you determine like, this wine still has some time to go? What are the factors you're looking for there?
For me, I think it's about balance, as it always is. Yeah. It's about finding that balance between fruit, acidity, tannin, length as well. If the wine, sometimes wines when they're old, they lose too much fruit, or the balance is out of kilter, or the alcohol is shining more than it should. So there's all of these kind of things. But equally, that was a negative view, but equally when wines age and everything molds together, it's fascinating to see, and you get this kind of multi-layer experience that perhaps you don't see when the wines are younger as well. So
I can't wait to sit in on that one. Yes. I think it'll be really fun. Well, I'm
excited about it.
Yeah. So as a speaker, do you also get to sit in on the other seminars that are there? Are there any that you're looking forward to?
Yes. Yeah, there are. Matt Walls is speaking, so it'll be fun.
Yes.
I'm going to try and sneak into that one. I'm a great fan of Matt. He's an amazing source for Rhone wines.
For Rhone Valley, and he's written the book on Rhone Valley. So I mean, if there's anyone who can speak on it, it would be him. He's great. Yeah.
And Peter Liam and Francis Percival are going to do a seminar on sparkling
wines,
which I mean is going to be killer. I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to that.
Peter and Francis together are a really great duo. Francis Percival being based out of the UK as well, writes for World of Fine Wine.
Yeah.
And then Peter Liam, of course, having written the definitive book on the Guide to Champagne. So maybe he'll write one on English sparkling wine one day.
That would be nice.
Is Gusbourne participating? Do you know if they're in that one at all, or they wouldn't tell you, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we will. Well, TBD. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Laura. It's really great to kind of do the exciting part before the conference actually starts. But you've been a really important voice over the years and coming and speaking not only about sparkling wine from the UK, but also being able to talk, about your breadth of knowledge on wine in general. So I look forward to seeing how it goes for you this year.
Great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.